Hello guys!
What's up?
So, I thought of us doing something that I've been thinking about for a while, and I think it's the right time because of the isolation that's going on in France and because of the super gloomy weather that we're having today. Actually, it was pretty nice up to some point, and then it got really dark as if it was like night falling at 2 or 3 o'clock.
Well, can't complain. We took out the dog this morning and tent stuff. I'm sure you're delighted to.
So yeah, what fits these things is Winnie the Pooh. Who's your favorite character?
Okay, the interesting thing is I was never really into Winnie the Pooh. Like, I never really got into it. As a kid, I guess. Obviously, I've heard of it, but it was never really my cup of. But from what I've gathered, there's a super depressed donkey. Which,
Exactly.
That I would say.
Eeyore, the depressed donkey. Even looking at Disney's version, I was always like, how did Disney do that? He was just so depressed. I felt like it was unfitting for Disney. And all the more in the original, of course.
Yeah. As a side note, it is worth actually reading the original texts of like classic Disney cartoons. I've read Peter Pan not too long ago, and it's much darker and much deeper than the version we were used to watching as kids. So yeah, it's much better.
Yeah. So it's gonna be the English language with a focus on language. You see what I'm talking about? And British humor in particular, and really focusing on the character of Eeyore, the depressed donkey, as you called him.
Yeah.
His jokes are really based on language and grammar and... okay, let me read the part. So, it's the chapter where Eeyore loses his tail and Winnie the Pooh meets him. "And how are you?" said Winnie the Pooh. Eeyore shook his head from side to side. "Not very how," he said. "I don't seem to have felt at all how for a long time." "Dear, dear," said Pooh. "I'm sorry about that. Let's have a look at you." So Eeyore stood there, gazing sadly at the ground, and Winnie the Pooh walked all round him once. "Why, what's happened to your tail?" he said in surprise. "What has happened to it?" said Eeyore. "It isn't there." "Are you sure?" "Well, either a tail is there or it isn't there. You can't make a mistake about it, and yours isn't there." "Then what is?" "Nothing." "Let's have a look," said Eeyore, and he turned slowly round to the place where his tail had been a little while ago, and then, finding that he couldn't catch it up, he turned round the other way until he came back to where he was at first, and then he put his head down and looked between his front legs, and at last he said with a long, sad sigh, "I believe you're right." "Of course I'm right," said Pooh. "That accounts for a good deal," said Eeyore gloomily. "It explains everything. No wonder." "You must have left it somewhere," said Winnie the Pooh. "Somebody must have taken it," said Eeyore. "How like them," he added after a long silence. Pooh felt that he ought to say something helpful about it, but he didn't quite know what, so he decided to do something helpful instead. "Eeyore," he said solemnly, "I, Winnie the Pooh, will find your tail for you." "Thank you, Pooh," answered Eeyore. "You're a real friend," said he. "Not like some," he said. He said. Interesting. Here the first thing that sounds original is, "How are you?" Not very how. I haven't felt how for a long time. And it's interesting because it plays on our expectations. Even though the question, "How are you?" obviously does not imply any sort of positivity, like any good or well, but we have the expectation that that's a question we often hear. Like, for example, in Japanese, you
Yeah.
say genki desu ka? Like, are you good? Are you energetic? Literally. Well, in French, in Bulgarian, in English too, you can just either say
Yeah.
how are you or are you good? Especially in English, in British English.
Yeah.
I don't know if you experienced that, but at first hearing people asking, are you alright? Like at first I couldn't catch what they were asking me. And then when I could, I was like, yes, sure, you're fine.
Yeah, but it's all a matter of tone. Someone like walks over to you and just goes like, "You alright?" Just like, yeah. Well, obviously, if you just tripped and I don't know, you're bleeding, so are you alright?
Yeah, obviously.
Those
Okay.
types.
Another point, like about the tail. So, Pooh explains that the tail is not there, and obviously the focus being it's not there, it's even underlined, it's italicized. But Eeyore asks, then what is? As if the stress was on the tail isn't there, which is just, absolutely, I don't know how much out of context this will have to be in order for you to assume that the problem is that there is something else there, not the tail.
That's super interesting because I do struggle to grasp that time of nuances, the whole like putting the emphasis on one word with the...
With italics?
with
in
italics.
text? Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When you speak, you just do it.
Well,
Speaking.
that's the main thing. Like, we don't really do that speaking wise. It's like in French, for example, this joke doesn't work as well, and I'm just left like, okay, it's like not really getting it.
It's something students really struggle with as well. There is an exercise they really struggle with. So you give them a question. No, you give them a statement with one part of it underlined. Let's say Alex is cooking in the kitchen, and you got Alex underlined. And basically the instructions are ask about the underlined word. Obviously, like who is cooking in the kitchen. They get it wrong all the time. Students are like, what is he doing, or where is he? So like, no, the underlined word, look at the underlined word.
I see. Yeah, mixed up two things. I was more thinking about stress, when
you speak.
Yeah, when you speak.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, obviously we have that function. Sorry.
No, okay, like it's I was talking about stress, and just what is stress kind of corresponds to what you're gonna ask about, like, oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna ask you your opinion here. You see, actually, when he speaks some things, like that accounts for a good deal. It explains everything. No wonder. It's all capitalized. And I think it implies that he's trying to make, some conclusions, some existential.
Yeah, definitely. You would only capitalize things in titles. I think that's like basically something that the whole of Europe is shares, I suppose.
Well, it's only in English that you capitalize basically every word in a title, apart from the ones carrying very little meaning, like prepositions and all.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But definitely adds meaning to it, right? Kind of
Sounds
generalized.
very important, yeah.
And we are told he just contemplates, asks himself questions, so I think it fits him. And there we go here, when he says, somebody must have taken it. How like them? So here it's a play on, somebody, them, and also later, not like some, these words that are supposed not to be referring to anyone in particular, this kind of impersonal, somebody. It's definitely you're trying to get the stress away from the subject. It's just, it has been taken, it doesn't matter, the somebody doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But he underlines how like them. Meaning, people are like that. Again, capitalized.
Yeah.
And then again, when he sees some kind of positivity, Pooh is promising he'll help his friend. He's like, oh, you're such a great friend. Not like some.
Yeah.
It's a bit more positive, but he has to end on a depressing note.
Always like some negative.
Yep.
I like him.
So, and I'll just show another small extract because of some kind of French pun, maybe not really a pun, but reference at least.
It's a reference to French, but I think it's very, very, very British.
All right.
from what you've shown me.
Let's see. Can you please read like from here, maybe from here to here, to the end of that?
All right. So there was a crackling noise in the bracken behind him, and out came Pooh. "Good morning, Eeyore," said Pooh. "Good morning, Pooh Bear," said Eeyore gloomily. "If it is a good morning," he said. Which I doubt," said he. "Why, what's the matter?" Nothing, Pooh Bear, nothing. We can't all, and some of us don't. That's all there is to it." "Can't all what?" said Pooh, rubbing his nose. "Gaiety, song and dance. Here we go round the mulberry bush." "Ooh," said Pooh. He thought for a long time, and then asked, "What mulberry bush is that?" "Bonhomie," went Eeyore gloomily. "French word meaning bonhomie," he explained. "I'm not complaining, but there it is."
Okay, so we get basically the exact same thing, saying one is the French word for the other.
Yeah.
And we get bonhomie, which I checked, it's misspelled.
It is.
Even in English, you can't put a Y at the
Yeah.
end of it. It has to be IE. So can you explain what bonhomie is?
Yeah, bonhomie is more. It's not even about being happy. It's more like being affable. There's another one that is based on French and similar. It's someone who like remains like keeps his kind of keeps being happy, keeps being positive, like sort of like calm and joyous, like calm joy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, in English,
Yeah.
it also seems to imply kind of friendliness
As well, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it comes from bonhomme, obviously. It's a word that I find very typical because when our son was little, you'll be like bonhomme, bonhomme, and also you say bonhomme de neige for a snowman. You say bonhomme, like good man.
Yeah.
Snow good man.
I suppose it comes from like the common parlance, but I suppose, I'm guessing.
And just one more little thing here. I find this really cool. Like when he says, we can't all, and some of us don't.
Yeah, I like that one.
Obviously, can and do just can't stop here.
Yeah.
They need an object. Well, yeah, they need another verb, really.
Yeah.
I don't know if this can be referred to as being transitive. Not really, because they're modal verbs. They just need something. They need another verb.
Yeah.
And he just cuts it there, again, making things general. We just can't, things in general. When we don't, things in general.
I like
but
that
Pooh
one.
doesn't get this debt. He's like, what? Okay.
Yeah, okay. That's an interesting one. Like, to be honest, like, she really has to hand away more, like, info about this.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I have the benefit of having read works as a child from really a variety of places, as opposed to in France, it being mainly French.
Yeah. Well, I would argue that it's more like each country has its own taste, like in terms of reading, and some things went completely over my head as a kid.
So, any favorite Winnie the Pooh character, Winnie the Pooh expression, quotation,
Jokes.
please? Jokes, there are tons of it.
Yeah.
Let us know. And we'll be happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something we missed in there. We really focused on Eeyore.
Anyways.
So thank you. See you next time.
And
Bye.
the YouTube stuff. Bye.
Yeah, please subscribe and like. Bye bye.
Bye.